Hello, iAnimators. This is Frederick from Lighting and Compositing Workshop. We have today a new light rig for Arnold. It's coming with Maya 2017 now, and I think we got some pretty cool render out of it. So let's take a peek. And so when you have loaded your file, you'll find that you get this little controls at the center. This is pointing the sun direction, so you can actually rotate that around. Also find that control on the attributes. The next intensity would be just the intensity of your light and the exposure. So people familiar with the way camera is working when you play with your exposure, it's very similar. So you need your lights brighter, you can use the exposure if you would prefer. The samples is actually helping you to reduce the grain of your light. In here, we only have this large dome, which is using an HDRI map. And if you have bouncing grain or everything coming from that light, you can increase the sampling of that light. It's not affected the surface of your character. It's really based on that light. You'll find that in render setting, which is bringing me to render setting, and this is more global. So you'll find those settings here, and you have your AA samples in here. So this is global. I would say 4 is a pretty decent render. You may feel you still have some grain, go up 5 or 6, but you will find that your render time is exponential. So if you from one sampling, you may have a couple seconds, 2 would be a 10, and it's just on and on. So it can go slow very quickly. So we'll go back to this in a moment. On the HDR map, we do have a neutral. I've used a neutral map to balance all characters. The new Arnold characters conversion should be pretty uniform. And if you have some look depth to do on your end, or you want to play some shading, and you want them all to belong in the same world, using the same light rig is a good way to go. Get the daytime. We have the dusk and a sunset. Okay. Now for texture map, so make sure you're not missing it. Now, yes, we can see it is loaded properly. You will find in general editor and fat path editor. So for people that keep using that script text file manager, this one is a good replacement. You will find a red X if it's missing the maps. So just select them and repap those files properly. Make sure your file is actually will be rendering. Okay, and I'll be using the reference editor to load your file. You're always welcome to use the import. I do like to have that more reference into the scene rather than being imported. So I'll be just loading brick into this file. I've tried to do a nice cleanup on the new characters, try to remove that annoying popping Ventura node, but seems I couldn't get all of them. I would need some more digging, but you don't have to be worried about it. It won't cause you, it should not cause you any issues rendering your scene. I'll just hit OK, and there it is. Okay, so currently I'm using viewport 2. You can see the detail is pretty nice and smooth. You can also see the bomb map. Difference between legacy, you see the texture difference. It's a quite rough or low resolution. I've noticed that sometimes while playing with it, I had issues refreshing the viewport and everything goes white and all you see, it's like a glowing white ball. You can always use that little square in here and you can hit reload all texture and this would process everything that you have in your viewport and put it nicely. You can also adjust that resolution on your needs. Okay, let's take a look at our renders now. So let me move it around just to give some nice shape. or sideways. So I'll use this, my render. So I do have neutral loaded at the moment. Oh, see, it's black. Of course, I put this to template so you could see my background. So I'll just put it back to render reference. Sorry. Okay, so you can see it's very grainy. I've just moved my quality back to 1 in render setting. I will just browse between the colors so you have an idea of the look. We have daytime, it looks pretty, really warm and cool environment, sun and nice sky. So you can see I'm between the two, much more neutral. I'm going to sunset. This one is nice as well. Very warm, playing with it. So if you really feel like it needs to be brighter, you can just crank it up a little bit. So day and sunset, we'll go to dusk. Here you go. So here's our different value neutral sunset. So I'll just go back to daytime and we'll do some sampling test. Okay, you can see that this one took about 3 seconds to render, and I will just put the sample as 2, my global sample to 2. So see, a little more than the double. Actually, my first render test was to see I had some at 2 seconds. So now at 8 seconds, I just double the sampling. So you'll find that 4, 5 could be pretty good, and more you go, slower it will be. So the difference here, we can, if you note it, this refers to really, it's a global sampling, and the one you have on your rig is actually the sampling for that current lights. So this is light specific, and this is global. Here we only have one light, so yes, it goes for both, for both ways. Let's say you have multiple lights in the scene, you may want to try to keep your scene render time a little lower and just increase the one that is causing you some grain. Okay, this is another one I needed to talk to you about. So you saw my render time was 28 seconds. The grain's almost gone. That was pretty nice. So now going to common. You can see I did put my file name type. There's some cool things. If you right click under that file name prefix, you'll find that you have some common paths that you can use. So it will be registered into your path. So take a look at this, make sure your file is nice and clean. There's a difference now if you're going to your render. Before I would keep using batch render, but now with Arnold, if you're using batch render, you will have some Arnold images over your render. You get something called render sequence. So that would be something you would like to use to actually render your scene, and you'll be all set. And you'll find your render the same path that you currently have listed in here in common. So hope you guys will enjoy Arnold. And yeah, if you have any question, if you want to pop on the lighting workshop, you're all welcome. Have a good day.